I'm Laura from Meadowlark Violin, and today I wanted to review the Diodario Ascente violin strings. So I've been on the lookout for a good budget set of violin strings for a while, and I decided to try these Ascentes. They're relatively new to the market. They go for about $20, making them a good price range for beginners or if you're on a budget. And I'm used to playing a lot nicer strings on my violin, so when I put these strings on, I wasn't having really big expectations, but I was actually really surprised. These are a good set of strings, especially for the price range. So first off, the first thing I noticed was how resonant they are. They've got a really bright, brilliant tone. It's very lively. And this is one thing I talk a lot about with my students when they're first learning to play and learning to play in tune, is that when a note is in tune, you can hear it ring. It has a resonance. The note should continue to sound even after you're through playing it. So for instance, you should be able to hear that note continue on. For instance, if it's a little out of tune, the note just kind of dies. So this violin with these strings makes it very, very resonant to where the note really keeps ringing long after you finish playing it. So I love that quality of tone. That's great for beginners. I've been playing these strings for about 2 weeks and they've been holding up pretty well. They're supposedly known for their durability. I've only been playing it for 2 weeks, so I can't really speak to that, but so far they've been staying in tune really well. And keeping that nice ringing quality to the sound. One thing I did notice was the way the string feels under your fingers. So I normally play on Eva Perazzi's, something around in that range, and I've never actually noticed or even thought about how the string feels under my fingers, but playing these Ascentes, especially after playing it for a couple minutes, 20 or 30 minutes, I could feel it pressing underneath my finger. It's not that it necessarily hurt, but I could feel the pressure, kind of feel it in my fingertips. And I have calluses, so it doesn't bother me, but that might be something if you're a beginner, if you are kind of having that problem, or maybe you feel that, that might be these set of strings. The other thing that I noticed with these strings is the responsiveness. So when we talk about responsiveness with violins or violin strings, we're talking about how it responds to changes in bow weight or bow speed or string crossings. And ideally you want the response to be immediate. You want the tone to sound immediately. And these strings, they weren't bad. They didn't have bad responsiveness, but I did notice that I really had to be on top of my game when I was doing string crossings or changing the bow speed or bow weight. It wasn't all the time, but occasionally I would get kind of a slow responsiveness. The tone wouldn't sound immediately, or maybe I'd get some unpleasant sounds that I didn't want. And I feel like I never got those sounds when I was playing on a nicer set of strings. So a more expensive set of strings can make playing a little bit easier. You don't always have to do everything exactly right, exactly perfect. It's actually can be much more forgiving. But these are a $20 set of strings, so I think for the price, they are great. They're great for beginners. They're great if you want an extra set of strings or if you're on a budget. They're very resonant. They have a good, bright tone. They're even across the strings. The strings don't sound uneven at all. And overall, I think they're a really great deal for the price. So now I'm going to give you a couple sound samples so you can hear it for yourself. And since these are a budget set of strings, I'm going to play some songs that maybe beginners would be playing. So I'll do some open strings, some scales, and then some little snippets of some songs. a great set of budget violin strings. They're definitely a lot better than some other cheaper strings I've seen on the market. One caveat I would like to add is about what type of violin you're playing on. So if you're playing on a really cheap violin, say something under $100 or even under $150, $200, putting on a new set of strings might help a little bit, but it's not going to improve your tone or your playability that much. So if you're playing on something really cheap, I encourage you to look at some other options for some better violins. Having a nice setup, a good violin, and a good set of strings, it can make playing violin so much easier. It can be so much more forgiving of your mistakes. So I definitely encourage you to look at that if you are playing something on the lower end of the market. And I'll include some links to some of my recommendations for violins as well. I'm Laura from Better Like Violin. Happy practicing!